Hey everybody, Lady Cheryl here. Welcome back to my channel if you're a returning subscriber. If you're new, I hope you would like the video, if you learned something or if you're motivated, and you would subscribe to my channel. And everybody, if you could share my video and help me reach other people, I certainly would appreciate it. I will be 72 years old next month, and I have been gardening for over 40 years. So I have a lot that I can share with you. In this video, I'm going to share with you what I'm doing in my garden right now before temperatures get over 100 degrees. And I do this every year so that I can lower the temperature by 10 or 15 degrees so my garden won't burn up in Mesquite, Texas. And I'm going to share everything with you that I did in the first part, and then I'm going to show you some other stuff in part 2. Okay? Let's get started. It is June 9th. It's currently 90 degrees. I'm blessed to have my son to come over. He was supposed to come earlier, but he came. He on his own business, and he had to wait till he had a break. And we're putting up shade cloth, as you can see here. And I'll go into more detail about it tomorrow, because I don't think we're going to be able to get all of it up. As you can see, I am really sweating out here, trying to get this done as much as we can get done today. Whew. 90 degrees, but when you're moving around in 90 degree sunshine, it can get real hot. It feels like it's 95 according to the weather report. But it's coming along. It's got several pieces up. We're using zip ties, clamps, and rope to get it more secure because we get high winds here in Texas. So now my son is working on that side. I told him, since it's so hot, if he could secure the shade cloth to the trellises, see the empty ones here? Then tomorrow morning when it's cooler, I can secure them in the front where the plants are not as tall. It's the next morning, guys, and I'm picking up where my son left off. You see, we were able to get all of the shade cloth over here and over here. And he didn't connect it in the front right here. I just finished that. And I said, I need to go ahead and film that. My son is 6'4", and he was able to, with no effort at all, you know, get that shade cloth up. I have to put some posts here. I'm very pleased. I'm going to put a 7-foot post right here to raise this up a little bit higher because that Texas Star Hibiscus is going to grow much taller. And I told him if he can just get it on right here, that he didn't have to come back today. I can get a little step ladder and finish. Let me go around this way and show you. I could tighten up anything that he didn't get. And let me just walk around here and show you. I'm gonna be very careful and step on a step ladder to get this part right here done. And look at my deal, guys. Isn't that beautiful? And the only thing about, I noticed this deal has brought the leaf hoppers. Let's see if I can get it. I got it. I didn't have these last year. I've had them, you know, some years, but not last year. Swallowtail butterflies are attracted to dill. I've seen one, but I haven't been able to capture it on film. Leaf hoppers are weird. You can just grab them with your hands. I used to be so squeamish about stuff like this. But after gardening for so long, you just stop being squeamish. Anyway, I'm gonna finish getting up the shade cloth and I'll show you how it looks in the end. And you have to have it real secure or the wind will rip it off. And I'm not really worried about the unevenness, you know, of the shade cloth because it's so sheer. It's 50% shade. And last year, I know what I was gonna say when I go and my senior citizen brain is trying to remember. Last year, I brought the shade all the way down like a tent. I'm not gonna do it this year. I was more conscientious of what I planted, making sure that it was heat tolerant and planting at the right time. The reason why I'm not gonna bring it all the way down at like Tent City like I did last year, because I ended up with too much powdery mildew. Now, this isn't powdery mildew. This is the spray that I put on here to clear it up. you'll know which ones is powdery mildew because it'll start yellowing. And by the way, let me show you this Minnesota midget cantaloupe that I missed until after I was looking at my video and I put some arrows showing it to you. This is powdery mildew when you see the damage. So I will come in here and take all those leaves off, and I will not put this in the compost for obvious reasons. Got the shade cloth all the way extended from my watermelons to the edge of the 2 elevated raised garden beds right here. And I just want to show you my eggplants that I had to stake up. You see where I put the stakes? It's right there. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm glad that I did this today, because look right here, guys. This is an eggplant, and this is not a calcium deficiency like blossom end rot. This is sun scald. So I'm glad I got them up. I got a couple of them in here that are huge that I can harvest today, but my daughter says she's gonna cook them Friday, so I'm just gonna harvest them on Thursday. Today is Wednesday, so I'll harvest them tomorrow. But yeah, and I still have a lot of eggplants still growing. I'll show you when I harvest them in a video. They were just leaning all the way over here on the peppers on this side and all the way over there. So I put 2 stakes in there and zip tied them. You do whatever you gotta do to make it work. And now all I have to do, I keep forgetting to move this out. I'm gonna do it right now because I moved it and put it on the ground, and Bria thought it came off some kind of way, and she put it back up there because I don't want the hummingbirds to be afraid that owl, you know, when they get to the feeders. So all I have to do is just this little area right in here, from here to the fence. And you know what? I think I'm gonna stop for today and do it tomorrow. I'll come back, guys, by the magic of this video in a couple seconds. It's Thursday, June 11th. I decided to take the day off. I'm not gonna garden besides watering. My back is a little sore from all the work that I did last couple of days, so I'll finish this up on Friday. But everything is looking good. I'm gonna walk over here and show you where I rinsed off that spray for the powdery mildew. And you can see it's much better. Still some remnants of it here, of the organic product. And these holes I'm concerned about. But I've been looking, I don't see any ants that usually harbor aphids. I think it's grasshoppers. Every day I rinse some of the product off of these leaves too. They're doing better. And I saw a couple more melons while I was watering. I'll show them to you tomorrow. I got to get out of this heat. It's about 92 degrees. The other day I wasn't feeling good. I think I kind of strained my back a little bit putting up the shade cloth. But I've got my grandson, Brian, doesn't have any activities today like he normally does. He's been in football camp. My grandkids are very active. And he's going to help me today, but I got a little surprise for him. He doesn't know it, but I'm going to pay him for helping me work today. Okay, guys, it is early Friday morning, and I'm going to wrap this up. Brian doesn't have football camp on Fridays, but he goes to Planet Fitness and work out about noon. But I want to show you this in here. You see that yellowing of the Texas Star hibiscus? That's because of too much rain. But it's okay, because not too much rain in the forecast. Now, let me pan up here. We got a little cloudy overhead, and we're supposed to get a little rain today, but nothing like we have been getting in the past. So I just want to point that out to you. You can have powdery mildew, and then, of course, too much rain not draining in the pots. I plant in potty mix, so it has vermiculite or perlite in it to facilitate drainage. But I can put a brick or pavers up under there next spring because it's too heavy right now, because you can see how big the plant is. And I'm gonna put another 7-foot stake right here to bring this up even higher. I know this plant is getting ready to get over 7, 8 feet. Let me go around here. Good morning, Brian. You want to say good morning to everybody? Good morning. Brian, you can bring a couple of these stakes like this over here. I want to show you something around here. You remember how I topped off my pepper plants? Look how tall they are. Only 2 plants in this 25-gallon container. Now I'm gonna go around here and show you. Look at these. It's 4 in this container. And I mean, they are bigger and bushier than they would be if I hadn't topped them off. And yesterday I saw peppers over here. See them? 2 of them. And you guys know I've been harvesting the jalapeno peppers. So we have more. Brian brought me some sticks over here. I want you to take one, go in the inside over there, and put it into this pot toward the center so that this can raise up. Toward the center of the pot. You gotta go all the way down straight. Down, yes, that's it. Now, then you can pull it over a little bit on this side. Okra's coming in real good. I've been gathering a few pods of okra. And you can see this is too much yellowing because of the rain. I'm gonna take this one off. This one I let get too hard. I'll just use it for seed. I just bend it back. Now I'm gonna go over here. All of this, even though we've had high winds, is still hanging on. Yes, this is what I want to show you. I'm gonna harvest some tomatoes. They're getting bigger, and you can see because we got less rain the last few days that the yellowing has cleared up. Still got a little, but it's not bad. It was real yellow before. And I want to tell you that it is not blight. For the lady that emailed me that it was blight, ma'am, I know the difference. I feel like I need to emphasize this again. Look at the picture on the right, that was June 4th. Look at the picture on the left, that was today, the 12th. The leaves have cleared up. Blight does not clear up. You cannot prune off leaves that have blight and expect them to come back green and healthy like the ones you're looking at. I'll leave these in here. Probably, I was gonna take them out this week. I'm gonna go ahead and leave them in here a little bit longer so these tomatoes can get bigger. I'll get all of these tomatoes that are ripe and are ripening. And they're getting bigger. The 100 sweet. Just real quick. Got a lot of tomatoes over here that I need to harvest. The little tiny cherry tomatoes. They're all over here and over there. You can see the red coming through. Brian, so now our assignment is to get this shade cloth hung up right here. While Brian and I were hanging up the shade cloth, I found another surprise that the squirrels left me. They left me 3 surprises so far, so this will make 4, and I'll share that with you right now. Y'all, I just deadhead my hydrangeas, and you can see they're putting on new blooms. But check this out. While they were growing, the hydrangeas were so big right here, they were covering up this, and I know it's a pecan tree, just from experience. So I'm gonna put my hand down in here and see if I can pull it out. I'll get a little shovel. Oh, I feel it. Look, there it goes. So I don't want to break the roots up. Oh, it came off, doggone it, but that's okay. It has sprouted. See if I can ease it up. Nope, it's taking too long. Let me see if I can get in here. Brian, bring me a shovel. You know, the little gardening shovel. Okay, I'm trying to put this shovel in here real deep. You got it? I don't want to break the roots. But I got a feeling even if I broke the roots, it would still grow. The only way you're going to learn is through trial and error. I've never pulled one out this deep. Because these hydrangeas was in here from last year. Okay, I can feel something coming up. If I can't get it, I'm going to try it on this side and bring it out. Oh, it's in there tight. Okay, I got it. It's coming out. It's coming out. See? That's why you have to put a pecan tree in the ground, because it has a long tap root, longer than a lot of fruit trees. Okay, thanks, Brian. What I do without Brian, he is doing such an excellent job getting the shade cloth up under here. And Brian, does it feel cooler up under here?
Yes.
How many degrees would you say?
Like 10, 15 degrees cooler.
You said between 10 and 15, and I know it's at least 10. I'll prove it to you when I take you upstairs and look at the thermometer.
Okay. Bill, I don't know if you noticed, but all your plants are getting covered by the fence and the shade cloth all around your garden, except
right.
So.
Except right in here, you said.
Yeah, right here. So I think we need to put this piece of shade cloth right here. So
okay, but we're not going to put it all across the front like we did last year.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right. I agree with you. You're very smart. Guys, Brian has mastered math. Brian is kind of on the shy side. Look at the camera, buddy. But if you smart, you just smart. Brian has received masters in math. He's waiting for his other test scores. But he's an honor student. And he takes all honors classes. And he starts high school next year. And you'll be what? Taking what?
Geometry.
Geometry, because yeah, he had algebra in the what grade?
8th grade.
8th grade, guys. I'm proud of my grandson. Okay, guys, you see how the bees are pollinating this? So even though Brian, see, he's going from flower to flower, even though Brian is right, I agree with him. See, it's going into the 3rd flower. And this is what happens when it gets cross-pollinated. Of course, I showed you the big melon right over there yesterday. And see, now it's over here, cross-pollinating. So the bees can come through on this side and this side, but we're gonna put a pole. I already did it right here. You got a long one? Come on, Brian. And we need a heavier weight. This is a galvanized pole. And we're going to tie all of them together. You're gonna go behind the trellis. Watch the leaves, don't wanna tear them. Okay, that's really cool. We're gonna do the same thing right here. I'm gonna reinforce it. And go up in here so you don't tear up the leaves and the stems. They get the nutrition from the vine, the stem part, but the leaves kind of protect them from the sun. And see that bee up there again, guys? It's just going all over, a lot of bees. Okay, so now, watch it, just watch it. I hope I don't bore you all, but I just love to see them cross-pollinating. Okay, now, we're gonna put the shade cloth on here. Brian, you gonna get your end? And we're gonna wrap up this video. So we clipped it on the ends, guys, and the bees are coming right back. But I'm not worried about them because they can enter either side. They can enter over here. Only thing I want to do is to make sure, can you see that? That this melon right here gets enough sun. Figure out a way, Brian, to get this melon right here exposed. Because see, this is 50% shade cloth, but when you double it up several times, it's 100%. Okay, that'll work. 2 heads are better than 1, 2 brains. Go up high as you can on that shade cloth, that bottom. And you got to get photosynthesis all through here, so we need to get all of this up. That's a good job, Brian. Just clip it to the trellis. And we just let it down when it's 105 degrees. Only when we need it. Very good job. What are you gonna say? Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I wanted to show y'all this bee house my grandma bought off of TikTok. Since we have a lot of bees in our yard, she thought it would be nice to give them a little habitat.
All right, Brian, thanks for sharing. Well, this concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, when I close, I love to tell you that I love you and God loves you too. Bye now.